Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I continue to receive lots of questions about this Chanel 21P Caramel Mini. So I thought I'd make a dedicated video answering all of your questions about this little bag, starting from how I discovered this color was going to be released from Chanel, how I managed to score one. I did pre-order it, so I will go into detail on how the pre-ordering process worked. And I still continue to receive questions from those of you who would like my help to find one of these, and unfortunately I have not been able to help anyone except for one person on Instagram who is an acquaintance, and she was actually able to score one for herself once I shared this information with her early on. So other than that, these bags have been produced at very, very limited quantities. Unfortunately, I think that's pretty much public knowledge now. I don't know why Chanel made so few of these, but in Manhattan, which is where I am, I believe there were less than a dozen in total, or somewhere around there. So that's not a lot to go around, at least in this one big city. So I feel very lucky to have scored this. It wasn't an easy process, and I see that there are a lot of these now on the resale market, which kind of confuses me because I don't know how they would have wound up on the resale market, at least in such high volume. And I see them going for double the price, going for $8,000 plus, which is just insane. And I have received questions also from some of you asking, do you think it's worth it to pay double or nearly double for this bag from a reseller? And I do have a very strong point of view on that, so I'm going to share those thoughts at the very tail end of this video. But please stay tuned, because this video will be jam-packed with lots of information, and hopefully lots of information that will be helpful for you to be able to score a hard-to-find seasonal item like this in the future. I do understand that there is another caramel shade coming from Chanel, and it has a bit of an orangey undertone, I would say. This, in my eyes, has more of a pink undertone. So not all brown shades, not all caramel shades are going to be created equally, right? And Chanel does an amazing job with creating these chameleon colors that seem to change in different lighting, and they're all a little bit unique. They never repeat the exact same shade. So you might find something similar, but not exactly the same. But I do understand that there is another caramel shade with a slightly orangey undertone coming in the 21A collection, which would be in the July-August release time frame, right? Because that's pre-fall, pre-autumn. So if you want to get ahead of that, it's May now. You may want to start snooping around a little bit. I think, again, a lot of the information and tips that I share in this video will be helpful, so that maybe you can increase your chances of being able to score that 21A caramel color if it is something you're looking for. A lot of people now, I think, are referring to it as more of like a pumpkin-y shade, and this one, a lot of people refer to as like a caramel / chai latte or milk tea, because it has that kind of milky look. So it all depends on your taste. Before I get started on all of the information I want to share, I just want to say this bag for me is not about the hype. I know this is a very hyped bag, a very hyped color, but I loved this shade, this color, for a very long time. So this is part of my story as to how I obtained it. But let me just show you this little bit of eye candy here. So here's my Givenchy Antigona Mini in this beautiful caramel goat skin. It's got this sugared goat skin effect. Love this color so much. It's so rich. And I know that this was also a seasonal color from Givenchy, and this is very hard to find. I don't know why these design houses do this to us. They clearly know that we have an affinity for these caramel shades, but they don't produce them very readily. Here also is my Hermes Mini Evelyn, and this is in the gold color. I love this color as well. It's quite rich and buttery soft, so slightly different. They're all slightly different. But as you can see, for me, this color has always been in my wardrobe, always been in my collection. In fact, this is my Tory Burch little mini crossbody bag, also in a camel shade. I wore this when my kids were babies, probably about 10 years ago, and unfortunately I don't wear this anymore because my phone no longer fits. My phone has outgrown the size of this little bag, but as you can see, this was also another camel shade that I enjoyed early on. So why do I share these with you other than to show you some eye candy? I share this with you because the start of this process begins with my conversation with my sales associate at Chanel. she had discovered, or she learned, that I do love these caramel and camel shades, because she would see my bags. She would see my Givenchy bag or my Hermes bag, or whenever I went to go see her, I would be wearing a camel coat or a camel sweater. So she picked up on the fact that I like this color, that it's just a genuine love for this color. And then casually it came up, so I would say, gosh, I wonder when Chanel is going to make another camel or caramel shade. I haven't seen one in so long. I've been looking for years, and I saw some vintage ones, but I don't know. They're quite hard to get. And we would just have these little conversations. And one day she said to me out of the blue, I hear there is some kind of brown shade coming. I think there's a dark brown shade and maybe like a camel shade coming, but I don't have any details. And I was like, oh my goodness, is it going to be available in a mini? Because at the time I had no minis and I really wanted a mini. And she said, I don't know, maybe. And she kind of joked and she said, us SAs are the last to find out. I feel like you guys as customers and clients seem to find out faster than us. And I was like, really? So yeah, she kind of planted the seed that something might be coming, but I had no information, no photo, no nothing. And a little bit of time passed by and I started to just look around online, social media, and I stumbled upon a photo that somebody had leaked of this color, and it was in the medium classic flap. Same exact. This color, lambskin with the light gold hardware. And I was like, is this the color? I was kind of nervous that it might be an old color from a previous collection that was just circulating, and I was going to get my hopes up for no reason. So I took the picture and I forwarded it to my SA. And I said, is this by any chance the color you were referring to that might be coming soon? And she was very honest, and she's like, honestly, I don't know. It could be. It might be. I have not seen this color in a while. I do think this is a new color. And then again, she joked and she was like, see, you find out faster than me. Where did you even get this photo? And I was like, it's just circulating on social media. So then a few weeks went by, and I was just continuing to do my research. And then she sent me a photo again of the medium classic flap with this color. And it was the official, it had the Chanel tags on it and everything. And she said, look what I found. This must be the color that you're looking for. And I was like, oh, do you know if it's coming in a mini? And she said, I don't know. Lo and behold, long story short, she found out that the boutique that I normally shop at did not purchase any of the minis in this color, meaning that the buyer in charge of placing those orders, I guess, to Paris, they did not, I don't know why, but they did not order any of these in the minis, not the mini square and not this mini rectangle. So my SA broke the news to me. I was like, oh, why would they do that? And it's not her fault, obviously. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. I wonder why. And she said, I do know that they're going to be bringing in some in the medium classic flap size, but that's it. We haven't ordered any others, unfortunately. So I said, okay, well, could you keep me in mind if you find out anything else about the medium at least? I mean, minis would be my preference, but I just have been waiting for this color for so long. Maybe another medium might not be so bad. And I'm trying to rationalize, right? A few more weeks go by. She texts me and she says, we just got a medium in of this color. And literally, as soon as I got the text, that day, I hopped into a taxi and I went to go see her. And as I was in the taxi, I was literally in the taxi a few blocks away, she texted me and she said, sorry, it just sold. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I guess her colleague had sold it. It wasn't her that sold it. A colleague of hers sold it first to their client, and that's how it works. So I said, okay, well, thank you so much for trying. Thank you so much for even alerting me and for thinking of me. And that was that. So it turned out that mediums were released sooner than the minis. And she knew I was disappointed, but I was also not crying over it. I mean, it's just a handbag. It's just a handbag, right? So I was like, okay, it's not meant to be. She was so kind and lovely to do this next thing. She looked in the system to see where else this color might be available in the city, in Manhattan. And she texted me and she said, it looks like they're going to have, actually, she didn't text me. I was there in person. It was because I had taken the cab and I got there and she said it had already sold. It was okay. I wanted to go say hi to her anyway, since I was so close by. Then in person, she looked in the system and she said to me, oh, it looks like Bergdorf's and Bloomingdale's ordered a few. Not many, but a few. I think it was like 4 at Bloomingdale's, something like that, a handful, and then maybe like 7 or 8 or 10. I don't know. Something like that. Very low number at Bergdorf's. In total, it was probably less than 15 total in Manhattan. And she's like, go, go, go. And I'm like, what do you mean go? What do you mean? And she's like, go to Bergdorf's because they have a few more in the system at least. Just go and see if you can get on the list. I was like, okay. I had no relationship with any of the Chanel essays at Bergdorf, so this was just on a whim. I literally ran over there. I brought the photo that was on my phone of the medium classic flap. I spoke to the first essay that made eye contact with me, and I said, I understand that this color is coming in the 21P collection. Now, this was in early January. And I said that this is coming. Can I please get on the list or somehow advance order it? I didn't even know the proper lingo to ask for what I was asking for. I was like, is there any way that I can somehow get this bag? And she's like, where'd you get that photo? I've never seen this bag. What are you talking about? And I was like, well, this photo was shown to me by my sales associate over at the boutique over there. And there's also photos like circulating on social media. And I figure there's something real coming. Could you help me? And she's like, I really don't know anything about this. The official book with the next collection's releases hasn't arrived, she said. So she said, give me a minute. I'm going to go ask my manager. So she went to her manager, came back, and she said, okay, so it looks like we're going to be receiving a few of these in the minis. And I'm like, what did you just say? Did you say mini? Oh my gosh, I want this color so badly in a mini, really, really badly. What do I need to do? And I'm saying this in a very excited voice, obviously, as I'm filming this, but I was trying to maintain my composure in front of her, and I just said, oh, that's wonderful. Is there any way that I can get on a list or order this somehow? And she said, yeah, I think we're going to have some in the mini rectangle. She didn't mention anything about the square at the time. And she said, would you like to pre-order? And I asked her, could you please explain what does the pre-ordering process entail? I've never experienced this before. So this is what I wanted to share with you all. It was pretty quick and easy. She basically explained that in order to pre-order, I would pay the full amount, the full retail price in advance. And then they would withhold the sales tax. So when the bag is available and it's secured for me, then I would come in and they would charge me the sales tax, or they would deliver it to me and at that point charge me the sales tax. So pretty simple. I was actually on the phone with my friend who was traveling in Florida at the time. She lives right around the corner from me. She lives in Manhattan as well. And she too wanted this color in a mini. So I said, you know what? My friend's on the phone right now. Is it possible to also pre-order for her under her name? I can pay. She'll pay me back, right? So I can pay, but just put it under her name because it's for her, under her address, all of that. And the SA said, yeah, sure, we can do that. So one pre-order went in for me. Another pre-order went for my friend Jean. And my friend was on the phone. She was like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll Venmo you. I'll pay you back as soon as, you let me know the price. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm so happy to be able to do this for you and for me, like for both of us. This is perfect. And then we're like, yeah, we're going to be twinning, all of this. I share this with you because there's a twist in the story, which I will get to. So that was in early January, paid, right, for 2 bags minus the sales tax. And actually got really lucky because there was going to be a price increase right at that time. If you remember, there was a price increase. And this was going from $3,800 to $4,000. But because it was right before the price increase, the SA said, I will put these pre-orders in with the old price. So they went in at $3,800. So we essentially saved $200 off of the retail because it was going to go up by $200 plus tax. So that was really awesome. I was excited. And then I went home, and for about a month, there was a sort of waiting period. Yeah, so for about a month, there were just a couple of text messages back and forth and phone calls back and forth where the SA would call me or I would text her and she'd say, no news yet, but I just wanted to keep you posted. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know. I was like, okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't sweating it. And then another touch base, they're starting to come in. I've got the mediums coming in. It was interesting how the mediums were coming in a lot faster than the minis, and also at different paces depending on the store, because the original boutique that I shop at had already received their mediums and Bergdorf's was just receiving their mediums, and it was like a few weeks apart. And then I heard like New Jersey and other cities were getting theirs much earlier or much later. So I don't understand the rhyme or reason behind the release, the scheduled releases, but I figure there was some systematic way of doing it, or maybe things were delayed because of what's happening, right? So then I started getting a little bit anxious because I started seeing the minis come out in other areas, and I would see Instagram posts, and I would see social media photos of people who had unboxed theirs, who were already wearing theirs, and I was like, oh, wait, how come they got theirs already and I've got no news from my SA? That's so interesting, and I've paid in full. So I followed up, and she said, yeah, I know some places have already received theirs, but we haven't received ours yet, and just please be patient. I was like, oh yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing with me. And that was it, right? It was probably like 2 or 3 interactions. Then she called me one day, and I'm thinking this is the call, like, hey, your mini is here and your friend's mini is here, so come on in. No. She called and she said, okay, so I've got some good news and some bad news. She said, I can probably guarantee your mini, probably, but I cannot guarantee the mini for your friend. And I was like, what? Call my friend directly. I don't want to deliver this bad news to her. Gosh, I'm sorry. There's so many sirens in the background this morning. This is the true Manhattan life. All my windows are closed, but the sirens are just taking over at the moment. Okay, so she said, yeah, I know, it's terrible, but I can really probably only work on one. And I was like, but why? We pre-ordered them the exact same time, the same day. Like, why would I get one and she wouldn't get one? I'd feel terrible. I don't know how I would explain this to her. And she's already paid me back. I just feel so bad. And she's like, I know, I feel bad too. I'm sorry. And, it was like back and forth. And there was something amiss, though. There was something she wasn't telling me, and I could tell. I feel like I'm very quick to read people's, in between the lines, read people's tone and body language. And while this was a phone conversation, I could tell something was amiss. But she wasn't being straightforward with me. And I was like, So that was that. I didn't push her. Then we had another conversation, and she said, yeah, it looks like I can probably get you your bag. This whole probably was also like, so this whole pre-ordering process, I guess there's no guarantees. I was learning. It was my first time. And she said, but I don't think I'll be able to get one for your friend. I think it's going to be really hard. And I was like, could you please just be straight with me and explain to me why? Because when we pre-ordered, or when I pre-ordered for both of us, you hadn't even known that this bag was coming. So I imagine we were at the top of the list. And she's like, yeah, you were one of the first, or I don't know if she said we were one of the first or I was the first to ask about this bag. It was very early in January. So I was like, so if that's the case, why would she get bumped? It would be like the two of us at the top of the list, no? And I did appreciate that she was being very transparent this time. She basically said, look, when these kinds of really, really highly sought after colors come out, and Chanel unfortunately produces very low quantities, when this happens, there is a bit of a tricky situation where management has to get involved sometimes. And I was like, huh? And she said, yeah, my manager will get involved and say like who gets what. So what I've been told is that I can get one for my one client, which is you, because you were my first pre-order. And then she moves on to another SA, and then it would be one for that SA. So basically, they're trying to spread these out as much as they can with the limited quantities. So I asked her, I said, is it because they can't allocate 2 to you, meaning 2 for one SA? And she said, yeah, pretty much. And she sounded really disappointed too. And I was like, interesting. So what I learned was, I knew there would always be some level of competition in a retail / commission driven position, right, for SAs. But I didn't realize that it really came down to it like this. I mean, it sounded like there was some tension there too, because she didn't sound so happy. So she said, so the second one that was pre-ordered for your friend will probably go to another SA, one of my colleagues, and it will go to one of their clients. Yeah. So I was like, I can't break this news to my friend. Oh my goodness. Like, luckily my friend was super understanding, really understanding. She was like, I get it. You know, I get that there's stuff going on behind the scenes and you tried your best. I'm so thankful that you tried. Maybe I can find it some other way. Maybe I can find it through another essay. Yeah. So she was very, very understanding about it. And eventually she actually wound up buying a vintage beige, which is really beautiful. She got that one. Medium classic flap, is happy with that. So I think she's moved on pretty quickly. So I was relieved. And yeah, so that's how the whole process went down. It took about a full month. So by the time I got the call that this bag was available to be sent to me, it was February. So started the process in early January and received the bag probably like the second week of February or so. Now, in the meantime, there was an Instagram friend who was also really, really smitten with this color. And she was like, I want this color so bad. And so I was very honest with her. And I said, I actually pre-ordered this and I've got my fingers crossed and I've been waiting. And she was like, pre-order? How? Like, where did you pre-order? So I gave her all the same information that I just shared with you guys. And she went to Bergdorf's. And she pre-ordered and she got one. So yeah, so this is an IG acquaintance of mine. We've never met, but I knew that she was also in Manhattan and she was local and she could go. And she was fast. Like I told her, and I think within 48 hours or so she went and she was able to get a bag too. So I think we both feel quite lucky. I do wish that Chanel had made more of these. I know that these are still like causing a frenzy. I see so many on the resale market. And this is the question I wanted to answer because a lot of you have reached out saying, first of all, could you please help me find one? I think I get at least 1 or 2 DMs on Instagram a week saying the next time you go to Chanel, can you find out if they have any more of these? And my answer is unfortunately always, no, unfortunately I can't. I cannot help because I've never seen these on the floor ever. Never. And because I know what it feels like to wait a month after pre-ordering and how nail-biting of a process it was and how I felt like I had to grovel for it, I know they're just not readily available no matter how much I look. So I don't want to beat around the bush and mislead anyone. I'm just not able to help. Like I wasn't even able to help my friend who asked for me to pre-order and paid in full in advance. I couldn't even help her. So there's really unfortunately no way. If I could help, I would totally help. Sometimes once in a blue moon, I get requests like, hey, next time you go to Chanel, could you see if they have X? And if you do, can you please buy it for me and I'll pay you back? And I'm like, yes, I'll do it. If you know, you're a subby of mine or you're a longtime IG follower and you ask me as a favor and you're pretty local and I could ship it to you, like, yeah, I will try my best. But most often I can't help because I can't really find anything that, like, I don't have the magic answer. If you can't find it more often than not, I can't find it either. And yeah, so this one, no, unfortunately, I'm just not able to help. If you're able to get one through a personal shopper, then that's great. But I don't know, these are still so hyped right now that I think the resale prices are pretty ridiculous. Like I've seen on Fashion File, these going for $8,000 and over. $8,000, that's double the price. To me, that's insane. So to answer the question, is it worth it? Now, worth is all subjective, right? Someone might say this is not worth the price that I paid, the retail price. Like it's totally subjective. Someone may not even want to pay $200 for this. Maybe they think it's hideous or useless or whatever. So it is very subjective. And so I can't really answer that question. But for me, no way. I would never pay double for anything. I would never pay double for this bag. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I paid double what it goes for originally on the market. Like I don't think I would want something bad enough to pay double. I can't even imagine doing that. So that's my answer. Maybe that's not the answer that some of you were looking for, because maybe you wanted some rationale and be like, well, she would pay double, so it's not a big deal. But no, I just wouldn't. And I have to be honest about that. If I didn't get this bag, I probably would have been disappointed, but life goes on and I would have been fine with my other bags. There are so many places to spend your money, and there are so many beautiful handbags to purchase. The message I want to leave with you is that it's not worth it to go crazy over. I don't know if I would ever pre-order again with Chanel. Not all boutiques offer pre-ordering anyway. Bergdorf's does, Bloomingdale's does, Saks I don't think does, and many of the standalone boutiques do not. They may have a list, but they don't have a formal pre-ordering process. So something for you to know. But I don't know, in the future, I don't think that I would be driven to do that again. It was cool to experience it, but yeah, it was a month of like just not knowing, and it was just kind of annoying. Meanwhile, they have your money, right? So, and they say there's no guarantees. So I don't know, it was an interesting learning experience. Very happy to have this bag. This is now turning out to be one of my most used bags. So yeah, even though it's lambskin, I just love this color. It goes with my wardrobe really easily. So definitely happy and thankful to have it. But no, I would not pay double. I just wouldn't. So that's what I wanted to share. That's pretty much how it went down. I don't think I've left out really any details. I tried to cover everything and answer all of your questions. I'll give you a twirl of the bag since I have been talking without much eye candy for you guys. And my voice is getting hoarse. I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is like starting to crack. This turned out to be a longer video than I expected. So if you are interested in that 21A, more like pumpkin-y, orangey brown color that's coming out, then try what I did. Start talking to your sales associate or start a relationship with the sales associate. Let them know you love this kind of color and that you understand there is a color like this coming for the 21A collection, and see if they can keep you on the radar or like call you or text you when it becomes available or put you on a list or something. You don't need to have certain kind of connections or reputation or clout. Like I said, I got this from an SA at Bergdorf's who didn't know me from Joe Schmo on the street, no relationship whatsoever. And for those of you who speculated that influencers or YouTubers have an easier time, we might have an easier time because we're on social media a lot and we're always seeing things like, oh, is that coming? Oh, and then we kind of hear about things pretty quickly. But other than that, I've had no upper hand whatsoever. As far as Chanel's concerned, I am just a regular customer, Joe Schmo. And I do feel like that. I am a regular customer. I'm nothing special. I'm just like everybody else. Just because I'm a mom sitting here with a tripod making YouTube videos doesn't mean anything. So I would just say, don't be discouraged. If you are interested in a seasonal color that's coming up, just put it on the radar of a sales associate that you get along with, and hopefully they'll keep you in mind. And hopefully, you'll get lucky, because it is kind of, a lot of it, I think it is luck. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know I wasn't just sitting here losing my voice, babbling all by myself. If you do enjoy this type of content and you find it informative and helpful, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and join this fun community, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.